When the Almanack of Naval Ravikant began circulating online, it did something unusual. It was not launched with a marketing blitz, nor was it written as a traditional book. Instead, it spread quietly through founders, investors, and thinkers who kept recommending it to one another with the same sentence. You should read this slowly. Naval Ravikant has been called one of Silicon Valley's most insightful minds, not because he built the loudest companies, but because he consistently articulated truths people felt but could not clearly express. His thoughts on wealth, happiness, leverage, and freedom became widely shared because they felt timeless rather than trendy. At its core, this book addresses a problem many modern people face but rarely articulate. We work harder than ever, have more options than ever, and yet feel less satisfied, less free, and constantly behind. This book promises something rare. It does not tell you how to hustle more. It shows you how to think better so that wealth and happiness stop feeling like opposing goals. The foundational principle. The unifying philosophy of the Almanack of Naval Ravikant is simple, but demanding. Wealth and happiness are skills, and like any skill, they can be learned, practiced, and improved through better thinking. Naval makes a sharp distinction between what society usually teaches and what actually works. Society often rewards visible effort, constant busyness, and obedience to predefined paths. Naval argues that this approach leads to burnout, dependency, and fragile success. Instead, he emphasizes leverage, clarity, and long-term thinking. According to Naval, the goal is not merely to earn money, but to build wealth that continues to grow even when you are not actively working. Similarly, happiness is not something you chase through achievements or external validation. It is something you design internally by removing desires, expectations, and mental noise that create suffering. This book is not a step-by-step manual. It is a collection of principles, mental models, and philosophical insights. The real value lies in how these ideas reshape your understanding of work, success, and fulfillment, allowing you to make better decisions over decades rather than days. Key lessons and applications. Lesson 1. Wealth is built through leverage, not hard work. Naval challenges one of the most deeply ingrained beliefs in modern culture, which is that hard work alone leads to wealth. While effort is necessary, it is not sufficient. The key differentiator is leverage. Leverage allows the same unit of effort to produce outsized results. Naval identifies 3 primary forms of leverage. The first is labor, which involves managing people. The second is capital, which involves investing money. The third and most powerful is permissionless leverage, which includes code and media. This form of leverage allows you to create once and distribute infinitely without asking anyone for approval. To practice this, instead of asking how many hours you can work, ask what you can build that continues working without you. This could be a skill, a product, a piece of content, or a system. Focus on acquiring skills that compound over time, such as writing, coding, sales, or decision-making. When choosing projects, prioritize those that can scale without requiring proportional increases in effort. And over time, this shift alone can radically change your trajectory. Lesson 2. Learn to sell and learn to build. Naval often repeats a deceptively simple idea. Learn to sell and learn to build. If you can do both, you will be unstoppable. Building refers to creating real value, whether through products, services, or systems. And selling refers to communicating that value clearly and persuasively. Many people lean too heavily on one while neglecting the other. Builders assume good work will speak for itself, while sellers may promote shallow value. Naval argues that sustainable success comes from combining both. This principle extends beyond business. Selling is not manipulation. It is clarity. It is the ability to explain what you do, why it matters, and how it helps others. Building is not limited to startups. It includes building skills, reputation, trust, and long-term relationships. To incorporate this in your life, choose one domain where you focus on building deep competence and another where you practice communication. If you already build, practice explaining your work simply. If you already sell, invest time in understanding the craft behind what you promote. And over time, aim to be someone whose skills and communication reinforce each other, rather than compete. Lesson 3. Specific knowledge is your edge. Naval introduces the concept of specific knowledge, which refers to skills that are uniquely yours and cannot be easily taught through formal education. This type of knowledge is often developed through genuine curiosity, long-term experimentation, and personal obsession. Specific knowledge sits at the intersection of what you enjoy, what you are good at, and what the world values. It often looks messy from the outside and does not follow a linear path. Because it is hard to replicate, it becomes highly valuable over time. And this is why Naval advises against blindly chasing trends or credentials. When everyone is trained the same way, competition becomes intense and rewards diminish. Specific knowledge, by contrast, allows you to operate in spaces where competition is minimal because no one else sees the same opportunities you do. To identify and practice this, pay attention to what holds your curiosity naturally. Notice the problems you think about without being prompted. Instead of suppressing these interests, lean into them. Combine multiple skills into a unique stack rather than trying to be the best at a single, crowded discipline. And over time, this will create a personal monopoly that cannot be outsourced or automated. Lesson 4. Happiness is the absence of desire. Naval's views on happiness are rooted in ancient philosophy, but expressed in modern language. He defines happiness not as pleasure or achievement, but as peace. According to him, suffering comes from uncontrolled desire and expectations placed on the external world. Many people believe happiness will arrive after reaching certain milestones. Naval argues that this creates a perpetual state of dissatisfaction because the mind always finds a new target. Instead, happiness is found by training the mind to want less, judge less, and accept more. This does not mean abandoning ambition. It means separating internal well-being from external outcomes. You can pursue goals intensely while remaining emotionally detached from their results. To develop this, practice observing your desires rather than immediately acting on them. Notice which desires are socially conditioned rather than personally meaningful. Reduce inputs that create comparison, such as excessive social media consumption. Build routines that support mental clarity, such as meditation, walking, or journaling. And with time, happiness will become a default state rather than a reward. Synthesis and critique. The Almanack of Naval Ravikant sits at the intersection of modern entrepreneurship and ancient wisdom traditions. Its ideas echo Stoicism, Buddhism, and long-term capitalist thinking, yet remain grounded in practical reality. Naval does not reject wealth or ambition. He reframes them as tools rather than identities. One common misunderstanding is treating the book as a shortcut guide. Naval's principles require patience and long-term commitment. Leverage takes time to build. Specific knowledge cannot be rushed. And inner peace requires consistent mental discipline. Another caveat is that Naval's worldview reflects a high degree of autonomy and privilege. Not everyone begins with the same constraints. However, the mental models remain valuable regardless of starting point. Even incremental improvements in clarity, leverage, and desire reduction can compound meaningfully over time. Ultimately, the book's strength lies in its refusal to offer comfort through easy answers. Instead, it invites you to think deeply, choose deliberately, and accept responsibility for designing a life that aligns with your values rather than societal defaults. My takeaway from this book: if there is one idea to carry forward from the Almanack of Naval Ravikant, it is this. Design your life intentionally instead of drifting through expectations set by others. Focus on building leverage rather than trading time for money. Cultivate specific knowledge that reflects who you genuinely are. Learn to communicate value clearly. And most importantly, train your mind so that happiness is not postponed until some future achievement. Naval reminds us that a well-lived life is not defined by constant striving, but by clarity, freedom, and inner calm. When you align your work with leverage and your mind with peace, success becomes sustainable rather than exhausting. We hope you enjoyed this summary, and if you found value in this audio, please consider liking, subscribing, or sharing it with someone who may appreciate a more thoughtful way of approaching wealth and happiness.